Okay, guys, Panzer J back here in Operation Champ. We're up to turn 17, July of 44 for the U.S. KMT. So at the end of this, end of my turn here, I'll be going ahead and rolling the variable die roll for the possible conclusion of the game. So the way things look right now, it's a roll of a 1 plus any major powers capital that is occupied. And right now, Paris and Calcutta. There was a little bit of discussion if Calcutta counted, but apparently it does. So I will need, on a roll of 1 to a 3, the game will end. 4 and above, we will continue. So on to the U.S. I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So last turn for me wasn't my finest hour. I had a couple of mistakes, unfortunately. So I wanted to go over those real quick and let you know what the corrections were. So over here in South America and the Amazons, I had taken that fighter. Now I know I only can move 4 because I'm not from an air base and I don't have long-range aircraft. But I thought that the Amazons touched this C zone here in 104. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4 and landed in Gibraltar. But if you look close, it doesn't touch that C zone. So that would have been a movement of 5. So I just went ahead and had the fighter stay where it was in the Amazons. The second mistake was over here off of Midway. So I had 3 naval transports, and they can move 3 because of the major port. So for some reason, I think because I had so much stuff in this C zone, the transports were over here in C zone 61. So I counted 1, 40, 2, 39, 3, 38. But obviously they're here in C zone 62. So the most they could go is 1, 2, 3. So I took them to C zone 56 instead. They still dropped the same units in Hokkaido. They're just on the other side of Japan there. And then finally, the last mistake was probably the most grievous, at least in terms of for the Allies. So last turn I had Japan blockaded, but then I moved most of my surface ships out of C zones 38 and 56 and brought them down to C zone 91. I was under the assumption I still had 4 surface warships blockading 56, but over in 38 I just left a destroyer and those 4 light cruisers with those 4 jets on them. I thought that if planes were on the carriers, that would count as being able to blockade, but apparently carriers cannot, regardless of if they're carrying planes or not, have the ability to blockade. So with that being the case, I only had just the 1 destroyer in 38. So no blockade of Japan from last turn. So that cost the Allies probably about 30, 35 IPP. Japan had more than they should have. So live and learn with that. So on to the U.S. tech rolls. So we are going to go for, we got 5 tech on the board right now, and then we'll just go for 1 that isn't even on the board. So we're going to go for heavy armor, and that's not on the board at stage, or a roll of 8. Heavy bombers, stage 3, 9 or higher. Long-range aircraft, stage 3, 7 or higher. Advanced anti-submarine warfare, stage 2, 7 or higher. Radar, stage 2, 7 or higher. And attack transport, stage 1, 8 or higher. So let's see. We need an 8 or higher here for heavy armor. And a 5 misses. And then we need heavy bombers, 9 or higher. 2 misses. Long-range aircraft, 7 or higher. 4 misses. Advanced anti-submarine warfare, 7 or higher. 5 misses. Radar, 7 or higher. 5 misses. And attack transports, 8 or higher. 6. So we missed on all of them. Wonderful. Okay, so on to purchases. So the U.S. had $90 to spend, and we're going to spend all of it. So we got 10 battleships that we're finishing off here for $40. 2 Marines for 8 is $48. Militia and a militia upgrade for 4, that's $52. A strategic bomber for 12, that's $64. We were going to lend lease the British a destroyer for 6, that's $70. Lend lease the Free French, a fighter for 10, that's 80. And Lend-Lease, the KMT, a fighter for 10, that's 90. For the KMT, they have 12, and they're going to spend all of it. We're going to buy 2 artillery for 8. The Burma Road is now open. And then 2 militia for 4, so that's 12. So both the U.S. and the KMT spending everything they have. For combat, we have 4 combats, all in the Pacific. So over here in C-Zone 56, we're going to continue to blockade. And we're going to blockade with a light cruiser, a 2 light cruisers, a heavy cruiser, and a destroyer. Here in C-Zone 38, we've got 1 destroyer. So 2 destroyers are going to come up here from 91 and go 1, 2. And that will be our 3 ships blockading there in 56 or 38. Combat number 3 is going to be here in Kyushu. Madman Dan has 7 militia there. And we are in Japanese home territory, so all land units are +1 to defense. So those 7 militia will defend at 3. And it is mountainous, so my ground units will be -1. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these 3 naval transports here in 56, and they're going to come over 1 to 38, and they're going to drop off 3 regular Marines, if I can grab them, and 3 infantry. Then we also have a medium bomber and a jet flying from Hokkaido 1, 2. And we have a jet off of this light carrier in 56 coming 1, 2. And we have these 4 jets off of these light carriers all going 1 into Kyushu. And I believe that's it. So that'll be it for that battle. So the 3 Marines and the 3 infantry all be 1s because of the mountains. The 4th combat is going to be down here in the Philippines. Madman Dan has an infantry and a militia. So we're going to come down in the Philippines. I don't believe it's mountainous. So we're going to come down in the Philippines. On this card here in C-Zone 89, we have 2 transports are going to come down and take these 2 Marines and this infantry. We also have the 4 battleships are going to come down. So 3 of them will get to shore bombard. And then off of this card here in 91, we have a light carrier with a tactical bomber. So that's going to come over from 91, come over 1 to 90, and then the tactical will fly 2 into the Philippines. And that will be it for that battle. So we've got 2 Marines, a militia, or 2 Marines and an infantry being offloaded, and then 3 shore bombards with a battleship and a tactical bomber against that infantry and that militia. And that's it. No battles with the KMT. We're definitely starting to fall behind in China, but hopefully for the KMT, it's going to be too late in the game for the CCP to take us out completely. So that is it for combat. So the first 2 combats, there's no rolling. We're blockading 56 and 38. Again, 2 light cruisers, 1 heavy cruiser, and a destroyer in 56. And then 3 destroyers in 38. So let's go to Kyushu. Now, I believe Madman Dan does have a fighter in Tokyo. I didn't ask him if he wanted to scramble, but we can adjust that later if that is the case. So we have, over here, we've got 6 jet fighters, a medium bomber, and then the 3 Marines and the 3 infantry. So the 6 jet fighters are going to be 8s. So let's go ahead and get 8 die here. Okay, so we got 8 rolls at 8. And we've got, I think, 6 hits. So an 8, a 7, those are 2 hits. 2 6s there, those are 2 hits. An 8's a hit, a 3's a hit, and then 2 9s are misses. So that's 6 hits. So he loses 6 of his 7 militia. And then we've got 1 medium bomber at a 7. And that's a 5 that hits. So that should be everything. But let's go ahead and roll our 3 Marines and our 3 regular infantry. So we got 6 rolls at a 1. And no hits there. So thankfully the planes took out the militia. Okay, so now he gets 7 rolls at a 3 because of the dug-in defense special ability for the Japanese. And we've got a 2, a 3, 3 8s, a 10, and 11. So it looks like 2 hits. So to avoid double casualties, I'm going to take 2 of my 3 Marines. So Kyushu falls to the United States with 3 infantry and 1 Marine. And that's worth $2. So let's go ahead and move Japan down to 16 and the U.S. up to 78. Okay. And then our last combat is going to be in the Philippines. So we've got 3 battleships shore bombarding at a 4 or less. And then we've got a tactical at a 7 or less, 2 Marines and an infantry at 2 or less against his militia and his infantry. So let's go ahead and roll our 3 battleship shore bombards. And we got a 2, a 4, and a 10. So there's 2 hits. So the Philippines should fall without any other combat, but I'm just going to roll anyways. 7 or less for the tactical, a 5 hits, and then 3 rolls at a 2, and we got a 2. So we got 2 additional hits. So, but again, battleship should have taken care of that. So the Philippines falls to 2 Marines and an infantry, and that's worth $2. So let's move Japan down 2 more to 14, and then the U.S. up to 80. And that should be it for combat. So on to non-combat. Let's stay over here in the Atlantic. So let's try to move this plane again. So it's in the Amazons without an air base, and because I can never hit long-range aircraft, it's still got a range of 4. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and land in Washington, D.C. And then we've got a couple of cavalry here in Ecuador, and they're going to come down 1 Peru, 2 to the Amazons. And that should be it over on this side. As far as the KMT go, we are going to move, let's see, a Marine from Kwangtung is going to move over 1 to Yunnan. So is a mountain infantry in Kwangtung over 1 to Yunnan. So is an infantry from Sichuan, and so are 2 infantry from Qichao. Are all going to move over to Yunnan. And I'll chip those guys out here in a minute. And the fighter in Kwangtung is going to go up 1, 2, and land in Nanking. So that's it for the KMT. For the United States, down here, we are going to take an advanced sub that's in 126, and we're going to come down 1, 2 to C-Zone 147. We're going to take an advanced sub here in 123 and come down 1, 2, 3 to C-Zone 144. These 2 advanced subs, 1 in 125, is going to come down 1 to 134. So is the 1 in 124 going to come down 1 to 134. And then this entire fleet here in 91 is going to come down 1, 2, 3 to Sea Zone 134. And I'll let you guys know what's in that fleet here in a minute. And I believe that is it. So we got to land some planes. Okay, so the tactical bomber that attacked the Philippines went 2. So it's just going to go 1 and land back on that light carrier in 90. And then over here, we had a jet fighter and a medium bomber that went 2 and left Hokkaido. So they're going to go 3, 4 back onto Hokkaido. And then all the other jet fighters, well, the 4 that came from the light carriers in 38 all went 1. So they're going to go all 1 back onto those light carriers. And then the other one had went 2, and it'll go back to land on the light carrier there in 56. These 3 naval transports are over here in 38. I'll have to fix those here in a minute. And I believe that is it for, one other non-combat. This medium bomber that I've got over here in San Francisco is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and land on Hokkaido. And that should be it for non-combat. So on to unit placement. So we're going to take our strategic bomber and we're going to set that over here in San Francisco. We've got a militia and a militia upgrade. So let's just go ahead. They're both in Hokkaido. So let's just put the infantry down there. And there's already a militia down. Then we've got 2 Marines, and we're going to put those in our minor factory here in Hokkaido. And then we've got our 10 battleships, which we completed, and we're putting them over here in 64 off of San Francisco. So that should be it for the U.S. The KMT, we got 2 militia, so we're going to put those down here in Hunan. And then we've got 2 artillery, and they have to go in Yunnan. Okay, and that's it for the KMT. And then I forgot the Lend-Lease. So for the British destroyer, we are going to put that. Let's see. I believe Hambone requested Sea Zone 24, so it should be able to leave New York and make its way over to Sea Zone 24. Okay. We have got a fighter for the French that can leave, let's say, DC, make its way over the Atlantic to Morocco, and then get railed into northern Algeria. And then finally, we have a fighter for the KMT that can leave San Francisco and make its way through 65, 55, here into Sea Zone 89, and get dropped off there in Nanking, and that does have a major port there. So that should be it for unit placement. For income, the U.S. is up to 80. We got a 12 bonus, so that's 92. And let's go ahead and roll our income. Wartime economy, I should say. So 92 plus 6, so 98. So what do we got over here? 90. So another 8. And then the KMT is at 10. And that's all they have. They spent everything. So 98 for the United States and 10 for the KMT. So I'm just going to do a recap real quick, and then we'll get to the variable die roll ending. So over here in the Atlantic, South America, we had a fighter fly to Washington, D.C. And in the Amazons, we got a couple cavalry and an infantry. One more non-combat. I hope it's okay. Getting ahead of myself again. The light armor and the infantry in Thessaly is going to move up 1 to Macedonia. And that should be it. Okay, over here for the KMT, in Yunnan, we've got 6 regular infantry, 5 mountain infantry, 1 marine, and 2 artillery. In Sichuan, we got 3 militia, Quichao, 2 militia, Kwangtung, 4 militia, Hunan, 2 militia, and Nanking, 5 militia, 5 infantry, and 2 fighters. On the Philippines, we've got 2 marines and an infantry. And in C-Zone 90, we've got 4 battleships, a light carrier with a tactical. I got to move this card down here. And then also on that card was the 2 naval transports, a coastal sub, and a destroyer. So that's all there in C-Zone 90. In C-Zone 38, we have 3 destroyers, 4 naval transports, 4 light carriers with 4 jets. In C-Zone 56, we got 2 light cruisers, 1 heavy cruiser, 1 destroyer, 1 light carrier with a jet. In Hokkaido, we've got 3 Marines, 2 infantry, 2 paratroopers, 1 militia, and 3 elite Marines, along with 2 air transports, a jet, and 2 medium bombers. Down here in the South Pacific, we've got a advanced sub in 147, an advanced sub in 144. In 134, we have, let's take a look real quick. I don't want to. So we've got 4 light cruisers, 5 destroyers, 7 heavy cruisers, and 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10 advanced subs. So 10 advanced subs, 7 heavy cruisers, 5 destroyers, 4 light cruisers. And then in San Francisco, we got a strat bomber. And in C-Zone 64, we got 10 battleships. So that should be it for a unit recap. So on to the big moment. So again, a 1 through 3 will end the game. 4 and above, we continue. Slightly cocked. I say that's a 7. Let's try it again. 7 anyway, so regardless. So the game will continue. So we will see you guys here on turn 18, and we'll do another roll at the end of that turn. Okay, guys, Panzer J back again. So after I completed my turn, I always review my videos before I put them up on YouTube, and I already discovered a mistake. So over here in the battle for Kyushu, so I had 6 jets, medium bomber, 3 Marines, and 3 infantry attacking 7 militia. So I messed up and rolled for 8 jets instead of 6. I think when I was saying the jets attack at 8, I just then went ahead and got 8 dice. So, so they got 6 out of the 8 hits. And then I hit with my medium bomber, so that's 7 hits. And then the 3 Marines and the 3 infantry did not get hits. So, and then on Madman Dan's portion, his 7 militia got 2 hits. So I'm going to go ahead, since I rolled for 2 extra jets, I'm going to go ahead and count both the jets that I rolled extra as hits. So that means he still has 2 militia left here on round 2. So I'm assuming I'm still going to win, so I'm not going to put his militia back on the board, but let's go ahead and do that real quick. So he's got 2 militia left here on round 2. So I've got now 6 jets. So let's go ahead and roll for 6 jets at an 8. And we got 2 4s, a 5, a 6, a 7, and a 9. So that's more than enough for to kill off his 2 militia. Okay, so now let's go ahead and roll his 2 militia at a 3 or less. And he got a 2 and a 9. But we're on to round 2. Yes, we're on to round 2. So I should be able to take an infantry without suffering double casualties. I believe that's only turn number 1. If I'm mistaken there, then to avoid double casualties, I'll take that last Marine. But I'm pretty sure that's only round number 1. So I still take Kyushu. Everything's the same, except for I should have lost 1 infantry additional. So it should be a Marine and now 2 infantry left in Kyushu.